And welcome back to the Morning Brief on Channels Television. Well, much ado about the qualification for the highest offices in the land. The debate is still out there amongst Nigerians about whether or not, the qualification should be increased, but certainly not at the National Assembly, where the lower house, to be precise. Let's get the perspective of the Honorable who sponsored that bill as she joins us now, Honorable Adewumi Ononuga, Deputy Chief Whip, House of Representatives, representing Ikenne, Shagamu, Remo North Federal Constituency, APC, Ogun State. Good morning, Honorable Ononuga. Thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Brief.
There's a whole back.
Asking you what inspired your proposition and whether or not, if you read the room before you proposed it, because this conversation has been on amongst Nigerians, and when you consider the controversy over the qualifications of past president, the current president, former president Muhammadu Buhari. So did you read the room before you proceeded?
To have read when we lay so much emphasis on educational qualifications in this country. Whatever rule that there is or is available can be amended. If you're saying that there is a rule that says that it must be high school certificate for any qualifications into elected offices, well, that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to amend it because of the fact that we lay so much emphasis on educational qualification.
So I think the question she was talking about is reading the room, and she made reference to the issues we've had with previous candidates, former president, and that. So I think a lot of people commend the boldness with which you presented that bill. And I just want to quickly read some of the people who are in support and against the bill. We've seen Babajimi Benson, who supported that, Professor Julius Yomobere, Kingsley Chinda, Leke Abejide, Alfred Ilia, all spoke in support of the bill. But those against it, Aliyu Sani Madaki, Bashiru Usman, Amaja Babao, Kabiru Amadou, Lawan Shetima Ali, from different parties, NNPP, PDP, APC, across board, basically. And I wonder for you, when you heard your colleagues speaking about that bill, what was going through your mind, really? Were you disappointed? Did you just think, okay, it's democracy, let the majority have their day anyway?
I wasn't disappointed. I was in shock. I was in shock because I would have expected, I'd consulted with a few people. Obviously, I didn't consult enough, because of the way that everything turned out. But the bottom line is, seeing or hearing the way that a lot of people put so much emphasis on the negativity that they brought to the table, I also realized that some of them were just playing to the gallery, because after the sit-in, most of them came to me and said, oh, we had to do that. So which is where I was a bit upset, because you don't have to play with people's lives. You don't have to play with the things that are needed in this country to move us forward. So I wasn't very happy, so to speak.
So I know that in the legislature there are terms. I want us to be clear on the term. It was stepped down. What does that mean? Can it be reintroduced again? So I want us to be clear.
Okay. Now, the reason, yes, it was stepped down for further legislative consultation.
So it wasn't thrown out?
Which means, no, it wasn't thrown out. If I had not stepped it down and had asked that it be put to a vote, and their voice vote was more than the nay votes were more than the yea votes, then would have been killed, albeit for a long time, or even this assembly. So I had to step it down, go and talk to them and find out what exactly the problem was. So it hasn't been thrown out completely. So I will be representing it after, of course, further legislative consultations with my colleagues to get them to see why I am saying this or why I am pushing this bill forward. So
now that you are looking at consulting with your colleagues, what annotations are you going to look at in terms of tweaks and turns to make sure that the majority will have their say and have their way at the end of the day?
Well, one thing that I really noticed was the agitation for those who had gone to pastoral colleges or Islamic colleges to say that they also had some kind of education and their intelligence had been built, and therefore they should be given the opportunity to also be in the conversation with regards to educational qualification. So I intend to go and say to them, because to be quite frank with you, the depth of training that people get in Islamic colleges and pastoral colleges is deep and intense. However, those trainings and certifications have not been certified with regards to balancing and telling us what the equivalent of those courses are with regards to normal or formal education as it is. So I intend to encourage pastoral colleges, those who are in charge of them, Islamic scholars who are in charge of different Islamic schools, to maybe go and talk to the National Universities Commission, technical education boards, and say to them, these are the courses that we take in our schools, and we want to know what qualification equivalents they are, so that once we have those, we can now say, look, because what the bill says is degree, national diploma, whatever diploma, or its equivalent. So if we can get the equivalence of what the lectures they get, because in the Islamic colleges they have elementary, they have process of committing things to memory, exegesis, they have the hadith, they have so many things. They even go to the length of jurisprudence, which is learning about the laws of the Quran and the Bible. So we really need to have a balance or equivalence of what those lectures and trainings are, so that once we have the equivalence, they also are, eligible. So that's the angle I actually want to go to now, and also talk to them and let them know this is important for us to move ahead.
Well, moderately ambitious, if you ask me. When you said earlier, Honorable Ononuga, that some of the lawmakers came back to you later on to say, sorry, we had to do that. That's quite suggestive of the politics of the House. And that brings me to the next question. When you realize the lawmakers who oppose the bill and which part of the country they are from, and if you recall also Honorable Madaki's position that, look, 26% of the budget has never been achieved in devoting, in allocating to education. What does it say really? Because does it speak of some double standard? Because it's when the budgetary allocation for each year is to be presented, it goes to the National Assembly in the first place. And I doubt that there have been strong propositions from the National Assembly that budgetary allocations should be increased to education. So what comes to your mind when you consider these factors, where the lawmakers who oppose your bill are predominantly from, and the position advanced by Honorable Madaki?
Well, I don't think it's fair for us to say that most of those who oppose the bills were from certain parts of the country. No, they were across the board. It was a whole lot of people, and the fact that they came to me afterwards accentuated what I actually said, affirmed that I said some people were playing to the gallery. It doesn't say that it's the politics of the House. It just says that there's politics everywhere. So it's not about the House alone with regards to people coming back to me and saying, we had to do that. But of course, everybody knows what their local government is like and their constituencies are like. And they would actually speak up with regards to whatever it is that they feel would make their people happy. Now, with regards to bringing the budget to the House of Reps and the education budget, and then is not being debated, we actually argue that there should be more. And I want to believe that that was one of the reasons why this year the education budget was slightly higher than it was in the last budget. And we keep agitating that the budget for education should be higher. We are aiming to even surpass the 26% of the UNESCO with the rate that we are actually arguing. But of course, when you argue for one area, another area will say to you, well, we are also as important. Yeah. So that's it's not like we're not agitating for it. We do agitate for it. Indeed. It's just what the balancing from the budget office is like.
Well, Honourable, a lot to unpack from this. And we're going to talk about the fact that you're one of the the few women in leadership position, particularly for the National Assembly, in fact, the only one. But still on this point, you play a vital role, and I think you're trying to do something for the younger generation, show them that politics can really be done the right way with the right kind of qualification. So I'm wondering, by the same token, do we then say young people who are seeking jobs don't need to go through the tertiary institutions, go through NYSC, get the certificate before they get jobs? Because the lawmakers are saying, if I heard one of them saying 90%, we're disenfranchising 90%, saying essentially that 90% don't get access to education, which again is not backed by data. So can young people also come and say, well, we need a bill to support us in that line?
You see, that was my point exactly. If we make our young ones go through the rigors of NYSC after going to school, and then they cannot even get a job in the civil service. The civil service, I'm not even talking about the private sector now. They cannot even get a job in the civil service unless you have a certain amount or a particular qualification. And that also speaks to the level that you would actually start from if you go and apply at the civil service. You know, so in order for us not to get to the point where our young ones will say, you know, there's no, a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say school is scam. School is not scam. It's important for you to get an education. It would be embarrassing to the country if you were to have somebody write a speech for someone who is not educated and let the person go for an international conference and say, okay, read this speech, and the person is unable to. It would be embarrassing to us, you know. So I do not feel that the young people should say, oh, we don't need to go to school anymore because there's no point, we cannot even contest. It's not like you cannot contest for elective positions. It's just that we want to make it legal, that we don't want people who, since we lay so much emphasis on educational qualification in this country, I don't see a reason why we should not back that up with other elective positions in the country. That is just my basic point.
Well, it's true, Honorable Ononuga, to ensure that, you know, the highest offices in the land, you know, are not made an all-comers affair when you leave the eligibility at just secondary school level. And we wish you, you know, the very best as you seek to represent this bill before honorable members. Thank you so much for your time on the program. We've been speaking with Honorable Adewumi Ononuga, the Deputy Chief Whip, House of Representatives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And from talking education, qualification specifically for the highest offices in the land, those who occupy that offices, we switch gears now to fitness as our coach joins us yet again for that important aspect of your physical fitness.
The question,
how to reduce...
qualified for this segment?
Are you qualified, Kayode?
Hey, have you seen my certificate?
Well,
let's see.
I'm going to
ask Jeffrey right now.
I'm always qualified. I just take things easy. I take things easy.
So we'll see whether Jeffrey will take things easy.
I used to do bodybuilding, by the way.
This time around. So Coach Musa joins us to help us keep fit. Stay with us. We'll be right back.